Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly update for September 18th, 2022. So, overall, this was a really good reading week. I read quite a bit. I read some things I didn't expect to, and other ones I'm glad I got to. As I said, it was just a weird reading week. I think it's because work was so quiet. I had a couple guys who were on vacation in the area that I work, so it was a lot quieter, and there were even times where I was alone at work, which doesn't happen very often considering where I work, but that was just weird. It was a weird, I mean, I was fine. It was not like I was alone in a desert of like nothing, you know, like, I mean, there are people who are out in the quarry where I work, but the shop where I physically work there was nobody there, and it was a weird feeling sometimes. So luckily that does not happen that often, but it just happened a couple times this week because of vacations. Anyway, so and I'm kind of surprised I let everybody off at the same time. It was kind of weird. Anyway, but I was stuck there, so I was a little bored sometimes, but most of the time I was fine. But I did get some good reading during the week. There was a couple days where I just came home and read a lot, and I again, it was just a high number reading week for me. Again, it probably helped that I enjoyed most of what I read this week. That probably quite a bit actually. So anyway, other than that, I don't think anything else is going on. So I remember I talked about doing the top shelf, tried to do the top shelf on these Billy bookcases because I didn't do them when I first got the bookshelves because I was too broke to buy the extra shelf on top. Well, because I've already attached these to the walls and I'm not unattaching them, there's no way, there's not enough space for me. I made the one top shelf that I bought to test this out because I was worried about this. There's no way for me to get the shelf to latch in because of the little, what do you call them? The little screws or whatever that goes in that's to connect the top shelf, the bonus thing to the main bookshelf. So I have to kind of scrap the idea in here. So I think what I'm going to do is, because I have books on the floor and I've been kind of putting this off, but I think I'm going to just have to start double stacking more of my books than I want to. And I also am going to do is get some bookends for the very top of my shelf. And so I'm going to clear off all the junk I have right now on the top of my shelves and put all my books. So that's probably my project next week. I think I have to clean the guest bedroom because my mom is coming the week after to spend the weekend. My dad's going hunting, so she's gonna come up here. So I'm like, oh, I gotta clean that room too. So I'm hoping to kind of do a combo between the two rooms because I've put off a lot of stuff of moving stuff because I was hoping that this top shelf thing would work, and it did not. So there is one more bookcase, Billy bookcase, in my guest bedroom that is not yet attached to the wall. So I think what I'm going to do is add the one shelf that I bought to go on that one and then attach that to the wall because I have not done that yet, which I need to do. My mom was upset to hear that the one that was by the bed in the guest room wasn't attached to the wall, but I'm pretty sure I haven't attached that one yet. So I need to do that. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm going to have kind of I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't think I'm going to do anything. I was so devastated yesterday when I found out I couldn't do those top shelves in here. I knew it was, that's why I only bought one to test it, but I was kind of sure there's not enough space, and there's not. So we're going to move forward and go with this next plan. But I might film something on that next week. We'll see what happens. Right now, I'm a little, what am I going to do with all these books? So I got a lot of stuff and I got to get rid of, it's time for me to kind of clean out some of my closets and things, and I'm just trying to build myself up to start doing that between now and November, because November is NaNoWriMo, and my brain is already starting to think that way, which is great. I have an idea, and anyway, I'm hoping, as I said, I want to get a lot of the house stuff done before November comes, because I won't do anything during November. We all know that. Anyway, so that's it. Sorry, that was a kind of a long update, but I just want to say that I have to do something about my shelves. I mean, it's hard to tell here because you guys only see like a part of it because this is the best part to film in. I did buy a ring light. I hadn't bought a really big, I'd bought a small one a long time ago that broke really fast and I never used it again. So I bought a bigger one. So maybe in the winter I'll be able to move around in this room a little bit more and you can see more of my shelves. I'm hoping. we'll see what happens. Anyway, so that's kind of like an update of what is gonna, I'm hoping I'm gonna change, get some work done here in my library, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, all that said, 5 minutes in, let's talk about the books. The ones I read, the ones I finished. No. Let's talk about the books I finished, the ones I'm in the middle of, and what I think I'm going to read in the next week. So just a little bonus one. I had a library book, Snug, which is little comics. It says a collection of comics from of dating your best friend. And I've seen these online, and they're just really cute little comics. And again, every once in a while I'll pick something up from the library that's one of these little collections that I see, like these online and stuff. This one is by Catan. Oh no, that's the, where's the her? Oh, Katana Chetwin. Anyway, I really like these. They're just really cute and sweet, and it's you know, I have like Debbie Tongue and some of the other ones that I really enjoy, and Sarah Anderson and stuff like that. I like reading their stuff. I don't always buy all their books, but this was another one, just a really cute one. If it's just really quick read of just, you know, little comics of daily life with a significant other. I just think it's cute. They're just cute. Anyway, I just want to mention I got that from the library. I did have one DNF this week, so I'm going to bring this up first just because this is a book that I borrowed from my dad, and I thought, I've been looking for another mystery series since I don't have my Bill Kreider books or my Sheriff Dan Rhodes anymore, because those are, you know, the author passed away. And so I was looking for something that would be kind of, you know, there's quite a few books in this series. This is open season, the first of the Joe Pickett novels. I CJ Box, and my dad has really liked this, and it's talking about a game warden, I think, in Wyoming. And right off, I couldn't read this. I mean, I think my problem comes back to the fact that this is so contemporary. This is so too close to real life. And then I'm also just like rolling my eyes going, oh, please don't do that. And I'm 18 pages in. I was already doing that. And I felt the prologue hurt, and it was like, it was one of those things where it's just not for me. So I'm going to give this book back to my dad. I forgot to take my bookmark out, but I only made it a few pages, but and it's a mystery, and it has to do with a man who he's just taken over the job in this certain area, his game warden, and he has an encounter with one of the locals who shot out of season some deer, and they have kind of an altercation. And then months later, when they're just about to come up to be the court date for what happened during that, and again, the Joe Pickett has been ridiculed for things that happened during that. The man who was supposed to go to court is found dead near on Joe Pickett's property. And so I think it was going to be, you know, him having to prove himself innocent. And I get it. Like, I think this is really like mystery. I don't think it was the writing. I don't think it was anything like that. I think it's too contemporary for me. And I was hoping maybe I'd like a contemporary mystery series again, but I just think right now none of that calls to me. Too realistic, too annoying for me. I want my fantasy. I think I just want something that's not realistic, I think, in a lot of ways. So I'm going to give my book back to my dad. So I have still 2 more books of his. No, 3 books, I think, of his that I want to get back to him by the end of the year. And then I have one of my mom's I need to try to get to. So I am trying to get through some of my borrowed books. So we will try to do, but it didn't work out for me. So, okay, so let me talk about, so I was reading another book that I'll talk about that I finished, but I got about 3/4 of the way, no, well, 2/3 of the way through it, and I just needed a break. I'd been reading too much of that series, which I'll explain in a minute. So I picked up my, the ebook copy of The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bandon. So this I won in a Goodreads giveaway, I think in July. And so I've been meaning to pick it up because it was coming out in August, and I meant to pick it up in July. I meant to pick it up in August. And I felt kind of bad I missed the date. But again, it's not like I get ARCs very often. Again, it was a Goodreads giveaway, and it was an ebook, so I didn't think about it too much. Well, I finally got to it. I picked it up this week. I've been thinking about it a lot. Then I know I need to get to that. I need to get to that. And I finally was like, I've been reading so many series. I thought, well, you know what? I better read a standalone just to kind of offset all the reading I was doing in series. So this was really cute and I really adored this. So this is in a different world, you know, different fantasy. It's a fantasy, but it has to do with a man named Hart, who is kind of a demigod, and but he's a warden, and he is protecting the humans or everybody, you know, in this area. And he's very human. I mean, he's just, you know, his father is his unknown father, let's put it that way, was a god of some sort. And there's like this, they have older gods and younger gods. They have this kind of interesting mythological thing, and it's just it's hard to explain that part, but but it's talking about him and his interactions with Mercy, who is the Undertaker, one of the Undertakers on this island, and her dad you know, used to run it, and then he had a heart attack, and so in the last 6 months she's been pretty much running the whole, or you know, running it completely, because he can only do so much. And her younger brother is coming back from school, and he is supposed to take over the business because it is, I think it's Birdsale and Son is the name of it. It's supposed to be and Son. They're supposed to, the Undertaker business goes from father to son. And she was just going to run the office, you know. And then but things happen when her brother comes back, as well as the competitor wants to buy them out. And there's all this stuff there, but there's also her interactions with Hart, who are not, they are very antagonistic to each other. They're not nice to each other at all. And they're usually kind of nice to other people, but to each other, they just can't. And then Hart is having a really hard time because he has pretty much given his life to his job, and he's feeling very lonely. And he writes a letter just to kind of spill out his feelings, and he doesn't write it to a certain person. He just wrote to a friend, and this letter gets delivered to Mercy. So, and then it's the story of what happens in the letters, what's happening in the real world, what's happening with her business, with his job. He has to take on an apprentice, and it's just, there's all this stuff going on that is, it was a lot more than I thought it was going into it. So I really enjoyed this. My problem is that it had it knocked it kind of a star down for me. Only because it had one of those tropes I hate about certain, that happens a lot in contemporary romances, where it's not a miscommunication. It's revealing something, you know, something, and you don't reveal it because you're afraid of how the other person will react, and they just take it too far. And I guess that would happen in here for me. And I just was like, oh, come on. And, that knocked it for me because it lasted too long. And this has happened in other, not just contemporary stuff. It's happened in my paranormal romances too. It's not a trope I enjoy. And again, it has to kind of do with lying. Omission is kind of the same thing sometimes. So anyway, but I really enjoyed the love story overall. I love the way this ended. I love the way how it all came together. I liked a lot of stuff in here was like, I didn't expect some of the action in the, you know, about 3/4 of the way through and things that happened. I really enjoyed what happened in here because I was not expecting it, and some of the answers we got in the end. So overall, it was a great read. I am going to buy this physically at some point. I just haven't yet. I think I'm going to go, I have some credit at Pals, so I might this week stop by and go and pick it up from them. I'm not positive, but I'm hoping I will. So I really enjoyed this. I don't know if I'm explaining well enough. I just think it was a fun ride overall. It had one trope I just don't get on with, but I think even though I got through that, it was a quick read. I read it in 2 days. I really enjoyed it. I just wanted to keep reading. And this was one of the ones where when I got home from work, I was just when I finished it, I think it was Wednesday, I just I got home and I just read, and I didn't think I was going to finish it that night because I read like over 200 pages. And for me, that is a lot, but I really enjoyed it overall. I mean, again, as I have my one quibble, but I just love the characters. I think they're, and I love the cat, and oh, that was it. I just love all the people related to them, because Mercy's family is great, and the people that she knows, and the people that Hart interacts with, there's a couple of them that are awesome, and I like that we get to know more about them. I just really like this. Again, as I said, right now it's a standalone. I'm not sure she's going to write more in this world. I kind of hope so, because I liked the world building and things that happen here. But if not, this is still a great standalone. I thought it was a great little romance. I like the world and the things that happened, the little mystery, and it had everything. And I just think it was really fun. As I said, it would have been a higher higher rating for me if it didn't have that one trope. It just went on too long. But other than that, I really, really enjoyed this, and I do recommend this. And I'm really thankful I got a free copy to try, and I actually read it. But I will be buying the book because it was so good. So I really enjoy that, because I really am looking forward to my reread, because I think I will not be quite as mad about that trope on the reread, because I know it's coming, or else I could skip over what I don't like, that kind of thing. So anyway, so I did read that. So that's my only standalone so far this month, and it's making me think of maybe doing I don't know, maybe this is too much of a hit, but I think in October I have a couple of books for Victober that I want to read for sure. But I was trying to think of what else I was going to read, and I think I might take a month of reading a lot of standalones that could be spooky or mystery or something else, like something different, because I'm reading so much fantasy and so much, that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm kind of gearing towards that way, but we'll see. But I read this early because I just had to read it, and I needed a break. And the reason I needed a break is because I was in the middle of Gleam by Raven Kennedy, which is book 3 in the Plated Prisoner series, and I had read about 935 pages of her straight. I finished Glint last week on Thursday, I think, and then Gleam showed up on Friday. And I picked it up that night. I did. And so I was quite a bit into this onto Sunday when I did my weekly update last week, and really enjoying it. But I read Monday, and then I just needed a break. And that's why Tuesday and Wednesday, I think I read The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, which I'm glad I took that break. I just needed to read something else, because I'd read between that book, which was, over 450 pages. And then this one's a 670 page novel. I just got, as I said, I got to about the 500 page mark, and my brain just was like, I need to read something else. So because I read, as you said, you add those together, it's like 935 pages. And I was like, I need to read something else. So, but then I came back to this right after I finished. I finished that really late on Wednesday night because I wanted to be done with that book. And so then I came back to this one, and then I finished this out the next day. I read quite a bit of it the next day, and finished it out, because I wanted to know what happened. So, this is book 3. So there's not much I can say about this one, except that they just build on each other. So again, this is a story about, Orin, who is, she looks like she's painted gold, but it's actually her skin tone or whatever. And so she, in the first book we meet her, she is living in a castle with King Minos has her in a cage, and he kind of shows her off, and she's this beloved of his, but she is kept behind bars and away from everybody else. She lives this very small life, like in this cage that she can go to a lot of places in the castle within this cage, but again, she's very lonely and everything. But she's been there since she was 15, kind of thing. So like 10 years she's been in the castle like this. And then politically things start happening. Minos is putting certain things into place, and things start to change. And by this book, so many things have changed. We've met so many characters. Orin has grown so much from what she was in the first book. It's hard to explain because this is such a slow, it's also a slow burn romance book. I would say that I did not see it as that until this book. I would say if you're thinking this is a fantasy romance, it doesn't become that until this book. The first 2 books, I would say, are just fantasy. You're definitely following Orin most of the time. You get perspectives of a few other characters, which are interesting. Because it's, again, these are kings and queens and things who are in power. And then again, she's thrown in there with all her issues and things that happened to her in her past, plus what is going on here in this future, or in this present. And this book was just fantastic. So, I mean, I did take a break in it, but I think it really was, I knew that the ending was going to start ramping up, because the last two books had great cliffhanger endings. This one does, it ends a little better, but I still want to pick up the next book. I haven't yet. I have Glow to pick up, but I'm going to try to hold off until maybe a couple of weeks or months. I don't know, because the thing is, I don't get the 5th book until like next year. So, but I really enjoy this, and I sat on this and I thought, well, at first I thought it was the same as the other ratings, kind of, I give them all really high 4s, you know, like, well, I mean, a little over 4, like 4.25, 4.5. And then, this one though, I had to bump it up. I think even though, it wasn't perfect, I still think there's a few things that I'm like, well, no, that's okay. But I did like it overall. Again, some of her decisions are not that she makes in the first couple books. You're kind of, ooh, but then later you understand why she did that a little bit more. So I think it kind of redeems some of the earlier decisions. And I really liked what happened in this. The things that happened were just, whoa, lots of things happened. I'm not explaining this very well, but it's a great fantasy, that has to do with the world that has, I think it's 6 kingdoms and stuff. And so Midas is in charge of the 6th kingdom, and then there are other, like, he's partnered up with, I think, the 5th kingdom, and then there's all these other ones, and it's very fantasy. I think it's, I mean, low fantasy. I don't think there's super, the magic in here is kind of interesting, because there's only a few that have magic. Those are usually the leaders, because it's left over from when and the 7th country was around, which I'm sure is coming in this. I don't know. There's so much in here. I can't even explain. I can't even talk today about this. It was just so much fun. And the ending to this was just, whoa, mind-blowing, kind of, whoo, all this stuff happened. I did cry at one point near the end of, not at the end of the book, but just before that, something that happened. It was devastating to me, and it hurt me so bad when my character got hurt, and it was hurt. It was painful, and I'm not sure how that's gonna play into the next book, which is why I want to pick it up. I just said, this series has just been a surprise. I wasn't planning to pick this up. I picked up Guild just on a whim at the beginning of the month, and I'm so glad I did. Again, I bought them all, so I've read now the 3rd book, and again, I think the 4th book is probably going to happen pretty soon. I'm probably hoping not this week, maybe next week. I don't know. We'll see. That one's over 700 pages, and this one was 660 or 670. So, but it was good. It was so good. And as I said, I don't know if I would recommend it to everybody, but if you like fantasy that's not super like complicated, it's just more relationships and, a lot of political stuff too, but it's like kind of the lowest kind of end of that. And then it does move. There is some romance in this book, but it's not what I would classify as fantasy romance full out, because it's important to the story, but it's also not the main driving force, I guess, which is usually what I classify when it becomes a fantasy romance, or paranormal romances. The romance is the bigger deal. It's a big deal, but it's not the biggest deal, I think, so far. I mean, maybe it gets more by the next book. We'll see what happens. Really enjoyed that. And then the last book I finished was last night. I finished Hairbringer by Philippa Balladine. I finished the Book of the Order. I am so excited. So this is the last book. This is book 4 in the Book of the Order. This is a series that this year I decided to reread the first book and then read the last 3 books in this so that I could finish the series. It's been on my shelf for years, and I am just so glad I got this done. This series is one of those ones where it's not a favorite. I will never claim that it's like the best thing I ever read, but it was interesting enough, and it was compelling enough that I wanted to know how it turned out. I did enjoy it overall, but it's not one I think I'm gonna like keep on my shelves forever. I might keep it on my shelves for a year or so and see how I feel, but I'm pretty sure this is one that's gonna kind of parts of it I'll remember, because they were they had some explosive parts, but over the books. I think book 3 is still my favorite of the series. Just because of the reveals in that one were just fantastic. I mean, it was just amazing. But this one was fairly good. The only problem, as I said, they're all really like just 300 pages, but they're so dense. It's not a book you can read fast. I never can read these fast, or at least I can't read these fast. They're fantasy following deacons who are ones who have power, who fight the geists and the ghosts, or the kind of wraiths and things that are coming from another dimension that are breaking through into their world, and they are like the line of defense for the humans in this world. And so the deacons usually end up in pairs, and we're following Sorsha, who is an active, and Merrick, who is a sensitive, and they work together. They have different skills and different things that they work to do that. And then the first book, they are sent on this journey. Seems kind of odd, and they just got partnered up because of stuff that had happened earlier in her life. And they get sent there, and they run into Raid, who is the young pretender, or he is of the family that used to be the emperors of the land, but his grandfather was deposed or dethroned. And so he's been living in exile, and he is kind of drawn into stuff too. And he is possessed by one of the Zeits, or the Zeit lords. So they're like they're kind of like ghosts, but they're like, they have powers and stuff, and they're very powerful from this other dimension that's crossing over. So there's like they're thrown into this adventure from the beginning, and things just keep changing and getting worse and worse. And again, end of book 3 was really good. I really enjoyed book 3 because of the reveals and who we got to follow and stuff. Book 4 I liked, but not anywhere near as well as book 3. I think because it felt rushed to me, because all of them are like 300 pages, and this was the only one I felt could have been a little bit longer. I mean, it would have taken me longer to read because I read these so slow, but this one I feel like we rushed too much at the end. I think so much was going on. Every chapter, something else was happening, everybody was going which way or that. And there was so much going on in this one. So anyway, I still liked it. I liked the way it ended. I liked the way it all came together in the end. I just think this one was the most rushed of all the books near the end. I think all the other ones, the 300-page mark with the way it's written, worked, but this one I probably could have maybe used another 20, 30 pages, I think, and just to flesh out a little bit on some of those chapters. But other than that, this is, again, one of those series I'm not sure everybody would like. If you like more of a more dense fantasy, there's a lot of, it has the magic of the deacons, and then and there's things with possession, and there's also like big political things happening in the background that you don't know about it from the beginning, or how it relates to them. I just thought it was really a fun fantasy overall. Again, not a favorite. Not sure I'm going to keep these for very long, but I've read them all, and I finished the series for Series September, so that's awesome. So that's all the stuff that I've read. I did start Avadons Gate by James S.A. Corey, which is book 3 in the Expanse series. So this one I started on audio by I think it's Jefferson Mays, and I have liked his narration in the past. He did To Like the Lightning by Ada Palmer, which was really good. So anyway, so this is book 3. So I'm not very far. I made it like 50 pages. One day at work when it was fairly quiet. As I said, it happened. But I didn't really listen to much audios because I was alone, so I didn't want to have my headphones on. So I didn't listen too much to this. So hopefully this week I will get more done. As I said, this is space opera taking place in the solar system here and in the future, and there have been warring factions with Mars and Earth and the Belt, and different corporations getting involved in certain things. So this one is starting it all up again with things going on Holden and his group. We'll see what happens, because there's this kind of weird thing going on with Holden that happened at the end of the book too, that I mean, since I've read that, I've been wanting to know what happened with that. So we're just starting to get a glimpse of what's going on with Holden in that. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, as I said, this is another one that I waited a year to read the next book. So I think it was last September I read it. Hopefully I'm going to get through this this week. We'll see. Audiobook isn't super long, so I'm hoping. Anyway, we're hoping to get to that. So then what I think I'm going to read, or what I'm going to read this week, is Ruby Fever by Alona Andrews. This is the last book in the Hidden Legacies series at this point. I've been reading the Hidden Legacy series with Tia and all the books, and so we are on our last book. This one just came out at the end of August, so we are going to start that. We're going to read this, about 75 pages a day for this week. So I'm really looking forward to the end of this trilogy. So it's like 2 trilogies with the different sisters. So like the first one is following, the first 3 books are following Nevada, who runs a detective agency in an alternate Houston, where magic has been prevalent since the 1800s, and she is brought in to bring in a high-powered magic user who are called primes, and then things happen that start in that book. And again, it has the mystery urban fantasy stuff that I love, and all the magic, and then the family in here, her Nevada's family is great. So this is now, we're on her her sister, who's younger than her, Catalina, and this is, now it's her trilogy, so this is the last book in her trilogy. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens and seeing how it wraps up. I don't know if we'll get any more in this series, but this will be a series ender as well, so I'm hoping we'll enjoy this. As I said, we're going to read that this week. So I'm hoping today to either pick back up The Black Coast by Mike Brooks. So I've only read like 60 pages of this, but I did enjoy the beginning, so I definitely want to read this. I'm not sure if epic fantasy is calling to me. I've read a lot of fantasy recently, but I would like to read this. This is following a world where these people live on one of the coasts, and they usually got raided during a certain season, but the raiders come at a time that normally they don't normally come, and so, but it turns out the raiders are actually being refugees, and they want to actually live there now, near this keep. And so it's kind of the tensions of people coming to be being refugees over here, and then of course there's a lot of political stuff going on in other parts of this world. So anyway, this is book 1 of the God King Chronicles. So as I said, I would like to get back to that. I also would like to finish 2 other series, but I'm not sure that I'll start these this week. As I said, I'll see how I feel today. Today, I don't know how I feel. I'll have to see what I feel like. I might pick up The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers, which is the last book in the Wayfarer series. So this is sci-fi. Dance with the Devil by Kit Rocha is the last book in the Mercenary Librarians series. This is post-apocalyptic future people with powers and librarians who want to save all the information in the world. I don't know. It's a fun action. I would say more action. So this one's also the last book in the series. So I would like to try to get to those. I just don't know how I feel today. If I don't feel like any of those books, I still have to start Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 2 in the Mistborn Era 2 series. So again, I'm trying to read 1 a month to be ready for the last book that comes out in November. So this is following Wax and Wayne, and they're again, this is 300 years on from the first Mistborn era, and so it's all kind of steampunky, Victorian, Western, it's all kind of a mismatch of stuff, and usually there's a mystery, and then they're trying to solve something, and some bad guys want to do some bad things. I don't know. I haven't looked at it. I don't want to know. But I could read that. Anyway, so I've talked too much today. Today was a chatty day. So that's kind of it. And that's Cooper. Anyway, so I did want to just quickly show that I have updated my board. So this counts everything that I've read through yesterday. So for my July, August, and September so far. I'm doing pretty good. I have way more ebooks than normal, which is because I've been reading more of the KU books since I got that, and as well as some ebooks that I got. And then my series are doing pretty good. As I said, my continue is always good. I did start a lot of series over these last couple months, and I got 2 finishes so far. So hoping to do more of those. And then, as I said, I've gotten pretty good. I have DNF'd quite a few. Some of them I haven't talked about. I just DNF'd them because I'm not going to get back to them. And I have read a couple big books. One was a reread though. And then the other one is Gleam, which I just finished. So anyway, it looks like that's going well. So other than that, I think that's it. I've talked so much. Anyway, so that's it. I hope you guys are having a good week. We'll see if I can get this library into some shape. You guys, I have books everywhere. It's just, and there's so much stuff I have to do, and I don't want to do anything today, so we're not going to. So I will talk to you guys later, and I hope you guys are reading something good. Okay, bye.